haven't checked in with Dave Rubin's podcast, so let's pull that up because maybe it would be good. He does it's this amazing grift collection of grifters. It's like a super group of grifters, and like why I left the left, like losers. So here, but he gets views on some of these clips. I mean, everyone was talking about. Some of it might be botted. I don't know, but
wait, just trend.
So, wait, what? It's a 50. Oh, this is the episode. This is the full episode, right? I assume, right? They don't talk about David Cross and Bill Maher for an hour, right? Okay. So I like David Cross. I mean, I'm not watching everything he does, but that's part of why I like Better Call Saul is because I watched David Cross and Bob Odenkirk in their show Mr. Show. That's the whole reason I watched Better Call Saul is because I was a fan of David Cross. I watched everything he did, and then I saw Mr. Show, and that's how I found out about Bob Odenkirk. So David Cross, close to my heart as a comedy person. I don't love all his stand-up specials these days. I just don't watch a lot of stand-up, but still massive respect for David Cross. And I have a lot of respect for him, like being just like a mature adult, like a responsible, mature adult. Like that's more important than anything about his, like every stand-up special being better than the last or something like that. Like it's just cool that he's like a guy who like has a family and like tries to be decent. Bill Maher, I mean, it's fine to not have a family. It's fine to not have a spouse and kids and stuff. But Bill Maher he hasn't changed. He hasn't grown. And that's sad. He really is a very sad man, Bill Maher, and really pathetic. Like people I know who like fell for Bill Maher's shtick years ago, they don't even fall for it anymore. Like no one watches Bill Maher anymore. He's just like does not know how to like present any sort of like useful voice to the world, and he's a sycophant to power, and he's a loser in my opinion. So David Cross is cool. Went on his show. Instead of watching it, we're gonna watch Dave Rubin talk about it, I guess. How long did they talk about it for? It seems like they might. Like, do they talk about it for any amount of time? At first I was worried they talk about it too long, but now I'm like, do they even talk about it for any amount of time? So they only talk about it in the beginning? Okay. So if you read the description, it says Actual Friends podcast hosts. Wait, what's this? Oh, nice. I'm so excited. This is such a good channel. Definitely save that. Actual Friends podcast hosts Dave Rubin, Sage Steele, and Mr. Drew Pinsky talk about David Cross's appearance on Club Random with Bill Maher, where humiliated him for still supporting the insanity. So you're missing a subject there, Dave. So you want to where humiliated him. So Dave is not really current with his Dave Rubin with his medical expertise, psychological expertise, like the current, like if you care about science, if you like care about empirical research, like you have to grant like the science points towards respecting children's trans identities. Children. Obviously, it's not just for adults to be transgender. Like it goes without saying, it's incredibly obvious that obviously children can be transgender. It's not a debate. Like if you know trans people, if you've ever tried to understand the issue, if you've ever gone on Google Scholar and typed in trans identity children and just spend an hour reading research, it's not complicated. It's obvious that kids can know that they're trans. It doesn't, obviously they just take moderate steps in that direction as kids. They do, puberty blockers. Sometimes they, take hormones. They might not want to do any of this. They might just want to, express themselves differently. But yeah, it's not that complicated if you're interested in science. But Bill Maher is not. He's just like an ideologue. And then Dave Rubin sort of uses him as a jumping off point. But let's see. I guess they're using it as a cold open for their podcast.
Wait, just trans friends in third grade?
Yeah.
As I always say to my woke friends, we voted for the same person. You're just why she lost.
Bill Maher is pathetic. I mean, but Dave, I feel like zoomed in here. I feel like this wasn't a part of Bill Maher's podcast at first. Dave just zoomed in. I mean, that is factually inaccurate. Obviously, the progressive wing of the Democratic Party is not why the Democratic Party lost. There is actual information that you could like study that. You could look at the election results and you could find what made voters stay home versus what made voters come out. The Zionism made voters stay home. The lack of a significant difference from the Republicans in terms of immigration, foreign policy, war, made voters stay home. Supporting trans identity was not. It was not. It was actually, I think, the lowest factor potentially in what influenced the election. If you look at it, and also, it's just I feel like the self-satisfied sort of vibe of Bill Maher is just so interesting. Like it, just like saying things so confidently. Like some people are just terrified of being uncertain. So that is a huge driver. And honestly, I mean, this is a weird connection to make, but it's the same type of driver that drives like fundamentalist religion and also terrorism, I think, in a lot of cases, is like this sort of extreme certainty or extreme avoidance of uncertainty. But I'm not calling Bill Maher a terrorist. I just think his certainty, his like refusal to be uncertain is sort of a hallmark of like fundamentalist thinking in a variety of different ways. But yeah, okay, so this is the cold open. Dave Rubin, the self-satisfied expert, playing Bill Maher, the self-satisfied expert.
There's no difference between Luke saying he's Megatron than a 4-year-old boy saying that he's a girl or anything else.
Well, I don't know who Megatron is, but a good line from this thing with David Cross is where David Cross was like, Bill, like, didn't you know you were straight when you were a child? And Bill's like, yeah, but that's different. And like, I mean, it's technically different, your sexual orientation and your gender identity, but it's kind of similar in the sense that it is something you tend to know about yourself. Not everyone knows about it, obviously, but a lot of people do tend to know it. I mean, it's just like you can't argue with it. Like kids do know when they're trans, and they're often right. You just can't argue with it. Like it is a fact. You either are aware of that fact or you've never looked into it. Like, it's that simple. Like, you're either aware of it. Like, David Cross knows trans kids. Bill Maher doesn't. And Bill Maher has not looked into it. You don't have to know trans kids. You don't have to know people with trans kids. But if you don't, you could just Google it and with, like, any good faith approach. But, yeah, anyways, there's a lot kind of wrong. And Bill Maher's just such a sad, pathetic loser, honestly.
She has trans friends in 3rd grade?
Yeah.
So Bill Maher says, so this trans kid you're talking about has trans friends. David Cross says, yeah. So obviously Bill Maher is going to respond to that by saying, oh, well, I guess that proves that there are more trans kids than I realized. Or if he really wants to take issue with it, he would have to say, well, I don't think that the existence of these several trans kids you're talking about has any bearing on the larger point, because I think, I still think we should, tell these kids how to live and dictate how they live their life and so on. That would be if Bill Maher, if he wanted to actually engage with the point. But instead of responding, this is what people do. When they're bad faith in conversation, you have to pay attention to it. They just shift around a lot. So what you need to do as the good faith communicator, instead of good faithfully responding to each point, which David Cross does do a lot, and I don't love it, you have to try to structure the conversation and focus it like, hey, why'd you just ask me if that trans kid had a trans friend? And then shift the conversation to like your perspective on optics and electability, which is not even grounded in science or information on how the election actually went. You're just telling me what you tell other people as if it's true because you say it to other people, or as if it's like a zinger, so it happens to be true. But yeah, Bill Maher, just notice he just asked a question and then his follow-up is unrelated to the question he just asked. Oh, does that trans kid have trans friends? Does that trans kid have trans friends? David Cross said, he says, yes. And Bill Maher says, well, this is why we lost the election. Bro, you don't give a fuck about losing the election. Be honest. Stop pretending you care at all. Like you're buddy with the Republicans. Bill Maher hates the left way more than he hates the right. There's no doubt.
As I always say to my woke friends, we voted for the same person. You're just why she lost.
Makes no sense. But if you already agree with him, the confirmation bias will get you. Dave says something bigoted.
He's a girl or anything else. Ironically, trans.
Dave, how do you think the Republicans feel about gay people? And what do you think people were saying about making kids aware that it's okay to be gay, Dave. What do you think people were saying about that 10 years ago? What do you think people are saying about that now in the circles you move in? About whether it's okay to even talk about being gay with kids? Whether it's okay to say to a kid, oh, I'm a man and this is my husband. Like, Dave, everyone just said the exact same things about how this is bad for kids that you're saying.
Transformers and
For people watching who don't know, I'm saying this because Dave Rubin is a gay man.
trans people. It's not that different, I suppose. More than meets the eye. That's what they say.
Is that all they're going to say about it? No, they must go into it more, right? They must talk more about it, right?
Nicholas graduates tomorrow, Saturday.
I don't care about your personal life. You're in a factory? Is that all they're showing?
Doctors and medical professionals, but doctors, practicing doctors, who I would never have heard of if not for COVID, if not.
There we go.
Perhaps, but he gets there. He gets there. And in this particular clip, he is talking to David Cross.
Okay, yeah, they let Mr. Drew set this one up. Completely discredited professional, but let's check it out. Let's see David Cross get visibly upset.
Cross is and how much more awake Bill is.
You need to be checked. People need to be checked.
I think they'll be.
So I guess Dave Rubin's podcast is like unwilling to like gather the original clips because they're playing like a clip where it has a picture of David Cross superimposed on it. I can't imagine that's from the original random hour or whatever with Bill Maher.
Including your little girl.
Okay.
She needs to be checked.
With her black friends and trans friends and not even understanding. She doesn't know.
Wait, she has trans friends in third grade?
Yeah.
What is there to even say? Like, it's just a sad, out of touch old man talking to like a normal adult.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, they know they're trans in third grade.
Like, this is a settled fact. Like, if you've ever looked into it, if you've ever even tried to be aware, like, to act surprised.
I knew one of her friends. I knew when he was a girl.
How old?
I think just turned 9.
See, more than one person who said to me, a woman said, I was what they called a tomboy. If I was alive now and acted the way I did then, that's what they would have done to me.
That there's still tomboys, but David Cross handles this well. Let's see what he says.
Well, nobody's doing this to her.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
literally, nobody is doing this to her. She is.
Good for David. I mean, he's expecting a normal conversation to some extent, seemingly, but yeah, good for him.
Or he is either 8 or I think 9.
Okay, then somebody is doing something.
Right, because 9-year-olds do not have any preferences or decisions or identities. Yeah, like 9-year-old, you can't have an identity by the time you're 9. Are you kidding me? You have everything you do, people are forcing you to do, obviously. Bill Maher spends a lot of time around children, I suppose, and really understands. I mean, look, at the end of the day, it is a complex question. Like, how does agency develop? But you can't deny that, like, kids have agency. That's, it doesn't rise to the level where we hold them accountable for their actions in the same way we hold adults accountable. But, like, children obviously have some degree of agency. And something like this is something only you can know about yourself.
8 or 9-year-olds can't
they're
do anything on their own.
No, they're
8 or 9-year-olds can't do anything on their own, Bill? What? What are you talking about, bro?
they're buying them boys' clothes
And telling them you're a boy now.
No, they're not telling them. They're just agreeing with. They're like going, okay.
It is interesting psychologically, like people who seem to not be able to grasp the idea of like supporting someone emotionally. I mean, really, that is what we're talking about. Like when people talk about this and like act like therapists like myself or teachers or parents are like getting kids to stay trans, getting kids to start transitioning, getting kids to stay trans. Like it really reveals like that these people don't understand what emotional support means. Like they don't understand what it means to be like, okay, I love you no matter what you do, you know? I love you no matter how you are. Like I mean, really, that's what it gets to. Like, honestly, I think that's the like most high level take here is that like people like Bill Maher, they actually fundamentally don't understand. Like, Bill Maher's not grifting here. He's stupid. He doesn't get it. Like, but it comes from an emotional unintelligence and a lack of experience with like emotional support. Maybe no one's really done this for Bill. Like, been like, man, I love you no matter what. Like, you know, no matter how stupid you are, you know? But like, it's really not understanding the idea of just being there for someone and not dictating what they do, but actually just being there for someone and just being there for a child and being there and saying like, you know, of course, yeah, we'll get you whatever clothes you want, whatever makes you feel happy. It doesn't hurt anyone. Yeah, we'll let you, you know, yeah, you want to go by that name? Great. And then guess what? The kid tells you if they change their mind, and then you go, great. And then the kid feels so good because they feel like they get to experiment with different identities. They get to find out who they are. You know, some people grow and change, Bill. That's the thing. Some people actually develop and they need space and emotional support to do that developing. You don't need that because you've, you know, not wanted to ever grow up.
You're a boy now.
No, they're not telling them. They're
Is this going to be the Dave Rubin podcast example of David Cross getting visibly upset? Like just this is visible. This is getting upset.
just agreeing with. They're like going.
Well, they're
okay,
agreeing
honey.
with an 8-year-old because
Yeah,
when
that's
is their
right.
when has their judgment ever been off?
So the idea that 8-year-olds are sometimes wrong means you should never agree with 8-year-olds. That's very logical, Bill. Because 8-year-olds may be wrong about things, you should not agree with them about anything, even their identity. Bulletproof logic.
At 8, good luck with President Vance, because as I always say,
Again, an immediate shift to Bill. Oh, this is the shift. They're just replaying it.
to my woke friends, we voted for the same person. You're just why she lost.
I mean, just realistically, if we want to be as like broad as possible, like 90 million Americans didn't vote or something. So that's probably a bigger factor, right? So why did those people not vote? I don't think it was what Bill says it was about, because I don't think he's ever looked into it.
And so
Is that it? No way. That's David Cross getting visibly upset. What are they citing? A Fox News opinion article. They're citing a Fox News. So that was it. That was the entire clip. That was David Cross getting visibly upset, I suppose. We're going to miss a lot of really amazing commentary here. I don't know exactly. I mean, I guess I could have just watched the Club Random thing with David Cross, but I'm really not that interested. And it was funnier to see it in this way. What are you going to do? You know what I mean? What are you going to do? This is a podcast.